Welcome back, folks. It's unfortunate that we ran into a problem, and I'm sure that um, this has to do with some kind of malfunction in the studio. So I just want to say I'm very sorry for what happened. It's unfortunate. Technology has a way of screwing up things. So I just wanted to come back and see if we are live and with best better quality for the microphone. I'm totally out of words because I'm not sure why this happened. It's unfortunate, but sometimes what can you do? So I'm hoping that many of you can join me again on this broadcast because this topic is very important, and I really wanted to cover it here tonight. So unfortunately, the devil is trying to be difficult. So let's hope that it's going to work for us. So hopefully you guys can join me back. It's unfortunate, but these things happen. Technology has a way of carrying on. I will call it carrying on. It just carried on me. Where that came from, I don't know. But this show promises to be a good one. So unfortunately, I'm not sure if I'm in a position to share it again. But um, let me see if I can do that at this time because I really wanted to address this situation with regards to what I thought is necessary for the conversation tonight. And as you can see, just look out here, you see what this conversation going to be about. The continued spike in residential property fires across Liberia, particularly the massive wave of outbreaks that severely impact communities, and what are some of the reasons for this? And what can the government do? So if you're now receiving signal, if you're receiving audio, I would say thank you. Please come back. Let's join the podcast here tonight. Help me share the show so we can do this together. It's unfortunate that we had to experience this, but again, how can we control technology when it's is acting up? We just have to start all over. And so what I did was to start all over, and I regret it. But again, it's better to do it again than not to do it. And so let's come together and do this stuff together. So again, welcome wherever you are. It's a pleasure to have you here tonight. I'm looking forward to a very good conversation. Please join me. Please share the show. Please share the link. Don't feel discouraged. Come back. Let's do this together. I'm confident that the conversation here will be a great one. Help me to share the link. That's what I'm trying to do here myself on my end, and please help me on your end. Um, this topic is very important. A lot of folks who have gone through this would tell you that this is a very important topic. So I'm hoping that you folks can kind of help me bring more folks here tonight to do this together. So again, thank you if you're there for joining me. Um, you are here with me on Thursday, every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on Tuesday, we do the issues room on the other side with Alfonso Yeno. And tonight is just me going solo on the Volcano Shelton show. And I just want to encourage you to please help me share the link. Um, it's unfortunate that we had to go through this whole thing and starting all over. But, better still, let's do it together and, get it done. So, welcome back, and I'm hoping now that everything is good with regards to the audio. And please help me continue to share the link. Let's do this together. I appreciate your support. I will begin this topic very shortly. Let me just continue to share this quick with some of the major places where the broadcast podcast goes. So um, we're trying to get it out there. as to as many people as we can. So please, 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 um, stay with me. I will be with you very, very shortly. Okay, we get this together, taken care of. So, um, welcome back, guys. If you can hear me, please confirm, because you said that there was no sound and there was a lot of white air in the broadcast, and I kind of teased it a little bit, and I heard it myself, and it's very much discouraging. But if everything is good now, please, please, please give me a thumb up, or just say to me, yes, you can hear me. Can someone please, who's watching right now, please confirm that you can hear me so we can begin the show? I appreciate it. Please, just confirm. Just say something in the chat room if you can hear it, please. Otherwise, let's begin. If I don't hear from you, it means that everything is good. So let's begin. All right. So tonight, as I said, I've come here to talk about the increase, the continue, fire outbreaks in Monrovia and its environs and across the country. Um, why is this happening, and what can the government do to address this kind of situation? Um, Many things are responsible. Many things, many things. So this is as a result of highly vulnerable housing materials, systemic infrastructure deficits, lack of expert knowledge, and seasonal conditions in the country. Seasonal conditions. Humanitarian assessment, right, was done by the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Society. And they highlight many factors that drive these residential blazes, fire outbreaks. One of the key things is the fragile housing infrastructure and materials being used to build infrastructure in Liberia. A significant percentage of residential properties in both rural and dense urban informal settlements built closely together, which are constructed using highly combustible local materials. For instance, thatch roofs, like the palm thatch, mud and stick walls, and poorly treated timber, which means that once a small fire, household fire starts, it's over, and it spreads so fast. Entire blocks or clusters of family homes are frequently leveled within minutes before any intervention can occur. This is due to the lack of proper zoning, as I said earlier, and spacing between properties, coupled with no road access to many communities due to congestion, make it even more difficult for fire service to intervene. So what do we mean here? You look at the structure of community slums and stuff. People build the houses on top of each other, so close to each other. So when one person's house is guarded by fire, the risk for it to spread proportionally is right there. Everybody can see it. So that is why you see people are fighting to turn off the fire. They're running all over the place trying to find water, trying to find banana leaf, looking for a bucket of sand, looking for a plastic bag of water. People are running helter skelter, and you hear people wailing and crying, "Fire service, please come! My people, my heart burning!" And you know they're yelling. And the next door neighbor is crying too. His house is about to catch fire. Now, if even that takes place and fire service decides to come to support, to provide, to provide help, they can't get to those communities because you build in the alleyways, you build in the roadways, you build in the byways, and so there's no way for the vehicle, if they have any, to come. They don't have the length of hoses that would be able to shoot from all the way from the main street to your locale, to your residence, to your cluster community. That is why we say no proper zoning. The rule of thumb is you should build your house at least 20 feet apart so that if fire guts one house, only the heat will be felt, but the blaze may not be reaching the next house. Unfortunately, we build zinc rod, we put Rampo, we put 2x2, we put 2x4, we put Wawa, we put cardboard, we put paper as wall decorations, and when fire catches, those are all combustible materials. That's one of the things that causing a lot of fires in the country. The next thing is cooking and household energy risk. Majority of the people in Liberia cook on charcoal, open wood fires, propane gas stove, substandard generators, and gas cylinders for daily cooking. Poor fire management cooking areas are frequently located close to combustible and flammable structural walls. People come to cook, they cook in places where they're not, clearing the area. It's not clear. It's not, open air so that they'll be able to hear. Let me make sure that this stuff is ready going through. So yeah, so we're doing good. We're doing good. So as I was saying, right? So as a result, when fire occurs in the home, it is dangerous because sometimes curtains are hanging long, beddings, cloth around the area, kids are playing, candles, and all of these things, they're very risky. Then the issue of electrical safety. In urban areas like Montserrat County, substandard electrical materials, improper electrical wiring, and illegal taps into the power grid often trigger severe electrical short circuits that spark fast moving residential fires. Then there is a substandard solar panel system coming from Turkey, from China, which are built to withstand which are not built, rather, not built to withstand the usage of multiple appliances at once. So what do we mean here? You have electrical wiring that's brought in the country. They say they got the AWG, they got the Havel, they got this one, they got that one. The Indian Lebanese man, they're just telling you what they got, and they're telling you, oh, this one from Europe. The man who carry you to go buy the wire, the first thing he wants the contract. He ain't even know the job, but he wants the contract. And he's telling you, oh, that the best wire, yeah, AWG, UGA, oh yeah, Havel, all this one. They're telling you. They charge you arm and a leg. One of those roll of wire, $35 to $40. There's some for $75. There's some for $150. Number 10, number 12, number this, number that. They're telling you all these things. The electrical sockets. By the time you screw the label in, the whole thing play out. The switches, by the time you hit it, it sparks. The receptacles. All of these things are so substandard, right? But everybody can afford to go to Eagle. Everybody can afford to go to City Builder. The people who go to City Builder, you know them. Those are the ones that sits in the legislature. Those are the ones that are in the high end of the ministries. Those are the ones who get in the money. Those are the ones who get the stuff on commission. When I say commission, they call the man and say, hey, my man, give it to me. I will do something for you when you bring your bill. Those are the people who get in the best. But the ordinary people get the quack, quack, quack. They say in Liberia. And what quack, quack, quack mean for all of you who listening to me, it means that substandard, useless, mess. That's what the people get. So as a result of all of these things, it lead to fire. Then people want to tap into the major grade. They don't even understand what type of voltage that's coming. They're running underground line. Some of the houses that they put coring in don't need coring because it's not designed to utilize current, to utilize electricity. So as a result, what happens? It is dangerous, it is risky. And so these people now at risk, and they go and put electricity in, and the substandard stuff they use, bam, fire catches. And then what happens? Of course, the whole neighborhood, all of the houses that are cluttered together, catches fire. That's the situation. Those are some of the reasons why we're having this problem. But here's one of the biggest problems as well: service inadequacy of the fire services. Fire service does not have the adequacy, lack of equipment The National Fire Service suffers from a severe shortage of functional fire trucks, water tankers, and basic firefighting gears. Bad roads and water shortages in the country. In many communities, narrow unpaved roads prevent fire trucks from accessing burning homes. Furthermore, the lack of operational fire hydrants mean emergency responders often run out of water so quickly. So if one fire truck comes and they pour that first tank, they got to leave from there and go back to a creek or to somewhere where they will find water. By the time they come back, your house is gone. By the time they can even get to your house, because of bad roads and no access to your house, it's over. It's over. So these are the situation. But let's look at why the fire service is so inadequate. It's not because the fire service wants to be inadequate. It is what the government gives the fire service. In 2017-2018 budget, George Weah gave fire service $1.71 million. Do you know what $1.71 million is for fire service for a whole country of 5.85 million people? In 2018-2019, they gave $1.85 million. In 2019-2020, $1.83 million. They drop it down small. Then 2020-2021, they drop it way down to $1.77 million. Then 2023, they went up to $2.18 million. Then 2024, Joe Biden came to power. He raised it to $4.17 million. So the 2024 budget of $4.17 million was the largest allocation the fire service received in many years. In many years. About that amount, $4.17 million, $2.1 million went for employee compensation, meaning salaries. Then about $746,000 was for goods and services, meaning operational and administration costs, like vehicle, gas, and all those things, stationaries, furniture in offices, and stuff like that. Then another $1.41 million went to transport equipment, including fire trucks and firefighting vehicles. That was all they received. Okay? But let's make a comparison here. Do you know how much for one fire truck? Those of you listening right now, fire apparatus are very, very expensive. So $4.17 million is a drop in the bucket to sustain a fire station or fire service rather that should have many substations across the country. Across the country. So if we did the math now, we say just in Monrovia, you need about 3 or 4 fire stations. Painesville, you need about 6 fire stations. You're talking Montserrat, let me just say Montserrat County. Alone, you need about 20 fire stations across Montserrat County. Then you add in Margibi County that is developing. You need probably another 10 to 15. Then Grand Bassa County, Riverside, all of that. So you need hundreds of fire stations across Liberia to tackle this issue. So the whirlwind or the wildland, rather, brush fire truck, right, is $150,000 to $350,000. Right now, if you Google it. The water tanker, okay, the one that moves water to rural areas, is $250,000 to $600,000. The custom pumper engine, they call the standard workhorse fire truck, which is the one you see wheeling around the place. That truck alone, one of that truck is $700,000 to $1.2 million for one of that truck. Then you have the electric fire truck now, because people are moving away from gasoline. They're now going into what? Electric cars. So the EV fire truck now for clean energy results is $1.5 million to $2.4 million. So when you give fire service $4-something million and the salary cuts through that money, then you can only afford one truck and you will not be able to afford all the other things. We just seen the truck. I even come to the part, sorry, I even come to the part that talks about fitting the truck, because what I just told you is just the empty truck. When I say empty truck, empty truck. So now to outfit the truck, the cost to outfit the truck, it can cost anywhere around $100,000 to $200,000 for loose equipment. So you have hoses and you have nozzles. That's 15 grand. Self-contained breathing apparatuses. That's 8 to 12 grand per seat in the truck. You're talking per seat, right? For the firefighter. Then you're talking hydraulic extrication tools like the jaws of life. That's 25 grand and upwards. You're talking radios and thermal imaging cameras at 10 grand and upwards. So why are these trucks so expensive? The question here, why are they so expensive? The reason why these fire trucks are so expensive, because these are heavy duty machines carrying thousands of gallons of water and massive pumps. Two massive bottlenecks currently dominate the market. So these trucks are customized. They're not your keke you're making and your pimping you're making. You can put them on the conveyor belt and do mass production. They are customized. Fire trucks are rarely mass produced on an assembly line. They are built, they are custom built to match specific geographic needs, fire hydrant layouts, and garage door heights of individual municipalities. So some of these trucks are designed with considering the fire hydrant layout. Today in Liberia, there's no fire hydrant. Prior to the war, we did have some fire hydrants across the country. Right now, there's no functioning fire hydrant. Okay? Then the extremely long lead times because of the specialized labor shortages and component backlogs. The wait time to actually receive a fire truck after signing a contract to produce a fire truck is currently 3 to 5 years for many departments. Because of this delay, manufacturers often build future inflation adjustments directly into the initial purchase price. What that means, you want a fire truck, right now is $1.5 million, but we can't give you one because we have to custom build it. And if we have to custom build it, it will take 3 to 5 years before we can deliver it. And by the time we get to 3 to 5 years, the material cost is going to be expensive for the construction of a custom built fire truck. So if it's 1.5 million now, you have to pay 1.7 or 1.8 million 3 to 5 years from now. So you have to give this money up front. So that's what we're talking about here. So that's just the truck. Then we're talking about the human being that's supposed to go into the fire. We're talking about you come and go take used product. We're talking about human being going into the fire. Just putting the firefighter together to go fight the fire. To fully equip one structural firefighter, the average cost ranges from $11,500 to over $17,000. This price tag is rather driven by strict safety standards. Okay, so there are safety standards that a fire department must meet when they take somebody and put gear on them to go and risk their lives. They must follow those safety standards, and the kind of material to be used must be designed to meet the safety standards. This is the core clothing worn when entering a burning building. It consists of a multi-layer coat and pants containing thermal barriers and moisture shields. The turnout coat and pants, that's 3 grand to about $5,500 per set, and each person needs about 2 sets because they don't wash them in the washing machine. They don't wash them by hand. They have to send them out to be washed. So if I go in a fire today and get smoke all over, I got to send that, and maybe another fire may come next day. I have to put a new one on. So that we're talking about 10 grand easily for 2 of those suits. Then the boots, to wear the boots is about $250 to $600 per boots, right? Because these boots are heavy duty, they're puncture resistant, and they're treated with solid rubber that can go into any place and step in on debris, sharp objects, and stuff like that. Then you're talking the fire helmet and the visor. That's about $300 to about $700. The thermal hood and the gloves that they put on, that's about $200 to $450. Then a firefighter cannot enter a smoke environment with clothing alone. So you put that on the person. That's just that alone. They require specialized respiratory and electronic tools to go into the fire. For instance, one of the SCBA, which is the self-contained breathing apparatus, that one runs up to $10,000. This is the heaviest single expense per person, right? Consisting of the harness, regulatory back frame, face mask, and high pressure compressed air cylinder. Then you have the PASS device included with modern SCBAs, which is the same self-contained breathing apparatus, $200 to $400 standalone. This safety alarm shrieks loudly if a firefighter remains motionless for more than 30 seconds to alert rescue teams. So if a firefighter went into the fire and maybe he got, he passed out some kind of way and they're not seeing no motion, that stuff alerts the fire people outside the rescue team to know and rush in to help save that person. So they're not just going in there vulnerable. Then you have the two-way radio, okay, which is instinctively safe. This radio costs about $1,500 to $4,000. Okay, then you also need handheld tools, personal accessories for you to enter the fire. You need thermal imaging camera because sometimes the place is so smoky. So you want cameras that can be able to penetrate and be able to see. Then you're talking firefighting flashlight. Just a flashlight is $100 to $250. Then hand tools like the axe, the Halligan bars. Those things are about $100 to $350. So these are some of the costs associated with being a firefighter. So just the preparation of the person alone that runs you anywhere to 17 to 20 grand per person, per firefighter to equip them. Then you talk in the truck, and as I said, the truck comes custom built with frame like, and then what happens? You have to put all the other accessories to it. So the hidden rule, here's what makes it difficult. So I believe that most of our stuff we're using in Liberia are obsolete, are expired. There's a 10-year expiration date on everything that a firefighter must use. And it's a standard regulation. 10 years. So you put $20,000 into one firefighter gear and it lasts for 10 years. If some of those things are purchased and they remain in storage as backup, so long 10 years elapse, you can't use it again. You have to buy new sets. So I decided to look at a small city here in Pennsylvania and to compare with Liberia. So in most U.S. cities, in the most recent U.S. Census Bureau estimates, the population of Upper Darby is a city within Delaware County in the state of Pennsylvania. Upper Darby Township has about 85,458 residents, according to the recent census. So let's just say 86,000. Make it easy, 86,000. Today, according to our census, Liberia is 5.85 million. So let's just say 5.9 million because they say Burkina Bees are coming in the country, so they're eating, they're living there, right? So let's say 5.9 million. So, but Upper Darby doesn't have iron ore. Upper Darby doesn't have logging. Upper Darby doesn't have gold and diamonds and rubber. They only depend on tax, right? Most of it depend on tax. But let me tell you what it is in terms of Upper Darby. Upper Darby, as a small city, has 5 fire stations. They are strategically located across its communities. Unlike dense network of neighborhood firehouses found in municipalities like Upper Darby, Liberia's fire infrastructure is highly centralized. Currently, the one and only we know about is in Monrovia on Gurley Street. Look at that fire station. That fire station, when I was small boy, that was the same fire station. And I think it was built before I was even born. The fire station don't even look like. I just call it. Tell you what, the men can go play chocker. That's what they do there. That's one for that whole place. Now here they say Freeport guy only fire truck, LPRC, yeah, because those places are highly combustible. Any kind of fire is dangerous. So maybe they have that. Some private company may have accelerometer, maybe Firestone may have, yeah, but they're not to the standard of what we're talking about. So Upper Darby just alone by a small city of this number of people, 85 to 86 million people, have 5 fire stations. The country Liberia, to 5.9 million people, almost going 6 million people, has one functioning fire station, one or two somewhere. I saw a picture the other day of the one in Maryland County in Harper. Is deplorable. Is a mess. It's not even habitable. It shouldn't be. No one should be in there. Okay, that's what we're talking about. So the hub in Monrovia, um, they have some in the counties, as I said, but they're not functional. Major regional fire hubs like Maryland County and Nimba, they frequently report having no functioning fire trucks or dedicated stations, forcing residents to rely on bucket brigades or private company equipment. What bucket brigades mean is it's just a term that people take bucket and try to put a fire. The community coming with bucket and put a fire. So the expansion plan, right? So the lack of decentralized stations is the exact reason why the Liberia National Fire Service Director General, Mr. G. Wasua Bavol, Senior, requested $20 million in the budget of 2026. I don't know if he got that money, but that's what he requested. Why? Because the agency's strategic blueprint aims to change this footprint by constructing up to 27 regional fire stations across the country. 27. Okay? And that will ensure that all 15 counties at least have one functional fire uh, station with that is fully equipped. Okay? To jumpstart this effort, the administration recently commissioned a new fleet of equipment, including 6 state-of-the-art fire trucks. Now, 6, 3 water tankers, 2 Jeep, and 10 rapid response motorbikes or motorcycles, specifically intended for strategic regional deployment outside of Monrovia to begin establishing a presence in underdeserved communities. 6 fire truck. These people got 5 fire stations to a population of 86. Liberia, a population of 5.9 million, population of 86,000. 5 fire stations. In those fire stations, the lanes could be about 5. So that's 5 times 5. That's 25 fire trucks to fight fires within the Upper Darby area community. The country has 6 functioning fire trucks, and they feel that they've made progress. That's a serious a problem for our country. But you have people sitting in the legislature that are taking hefty salaries, hefty salaries. And these are the guys who are building mansions, and yet they're not putting money into the budget to equip the fire department so that when their house, you saw what happened to Sir Joseph, you saw what happened to Fonati Kofa. That's not only the poor people will suffer it, even the haves will suffer it. So there's a reason why we have all these residential fires, and it should be a cause for concern. But national government, the fiscal budget of 2026 was passed by the House, $1.249 billion. $1.249 billion was passed. Did they give the fire service $20.4 million of that money? We don't know. So according to Upper Darby Township, the budget document for fire, $16.74 million. That's the comparison I'm making here. Upper Darby, the 2026 budget, 2025 budget was 16.74 million. Liberia, 4.7 million. That's 12 million plus outside of that. So then, 2026 budget, because of the need, the population grows, they increase the Upper Darby Fire Department budget from 16.74 million to 18.89 million dollars, an increase of 2.15 million dollars for 2026. The department serves Upper Darby through 5 fire stations and a combination of force of career firefighters and volunteer. Township information indicates that department currently includes 58 career firefighters and approximately 90 active volunteers. So we have volunteers. Do we have fire volunteers in Liberia? And are they being compensated? And how many of the professional firefighters we have in Liberia? 58 and 90 combined to fight for an 86,000 population. So what is the personnel you paying salaries to in Liberia? How much are they being paid to risk their lives, to go into fire, unprepared, not very dressed? I've seen them fight fire. I've seen them, they're not following protocols, standards, international standards. They're taking risks. They're not properly attired, right? So we have other reasons why we continue to have the fire outbreak. The West Park is in the residential fires in Liberia typically happen during transition periods in the local climate, such as the dry season and the high wind periods. Dry conditions make materials highly volatile, and sudden strong seasonal wind easily carry embers from an outdoor cooking fire or a burning trash pile directly onto the roof of neighboring residential homes, triggering widespread community fires. We have a tendency of burning fire all over the place in the dry season because it's the time to burn. But what we fail to realize is there's a lot of wind blowing, and it just takes one small fire and it ignites on a person's roof, wherever, blow through the window, hit a window kiting, and fire erupts. And then what happens? Everywhere gets burned. This is what we're talking about. If you just joining us here, this is the Volcano Shelton show. Volcano Shelton here with you this evening. We had a horrible start. The first 2 times I tried to bring the podcast, people said they couldn't hear a sign. I don't know what happened, so I had to shut down and restart. Um, so I probably lost most of the viewers tonight. But anyhow, we still want to hold the show because there's always that opportunity to listen again. And I thought that this topic was very critical. We want to push the agenda again that government needs to understand that the little small thing you give into the fire service, it doesn't make a big difference. It doesn't. You can't pay people more and then they have no work to do. People are crying, communities are burning down. I don't even want to go and say I'm showing many of the fires because it just brings a relief of the trauma that these people have gone through. But many of you see what trending on Facebook every day. People homes are getting burned. And sometimes there's no way to know where that fire started because no forensic investigation. Some of these places that get burned are zinc shacks and then they turn out to burn maybe 10, 15 zinc shacks together. And so there's no way to determine the cause of the fire because those people, some of them built in alleyways, some of them built in within a feet of each other, and the roof are touching each other. So when one house gets on fire, of course the whole community suffers it. So this is why we're talking about this, and we think that the government needs to do some things, and we'll get to that. But we were talking about some of the substandard material being used in the country, the type of wiring that is brought in the country. The Commerce Ministry not doing a good job. They're allowing anything. The electrical outfits, like for instance the receptacles, the switches, the sockets, those components that bring the electricity into the house, the wiring, the types of wire, all of these things are the reasons why many a time we have electrical fires. Then we also have solar panels, right? Solar panels now is the new thing. Solar panels that's very costly. Now I see them selling it cheap in Liberia. Some people open their business and then they got their name on the solar panel. I dare you. How am I going to buy that stuff? I'm not trusting it because you may have gone to the mass production factory to make that and put your name. I see some business called TK Top or something. It has air conditioner with his name on it. I'll be looking for brand name now because I'm not sure where did you go to buy that to put your name on it. I'm not denigrating your product, but just for the fact that uh, you go into China and bring in this stuff with your name on it as a brand name, I have a problem. So these are the kinds of things that the people continue to receive in the country, and it's scary. It's very scary. So, um, what can we do? What can we do? The government, what can the government do? Okay? What can the government do? The government first needs to strengthen the Liberia National Fire Service. The government should significantly increase funding for the Liberia National Fire Service to improve its operational capacity. Many communities outside of Monrovia have little or no fire protection. There's no functioning fire station. Additional resources to be used to build and equip fire stations in all counties. This is needed. Procure modern fire engines. I just talked about the cost associated with a fire truck, water tankers, and rescue equipment, because this is what's going to happen. Because we don't have functioning water system in the country, more are these sitting over there talking politics all day. They bring the water small, they cut it. They bring the water small, they carry it. They bring the water small, they carry it. Sometimes the water don't come for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Then they say send water bill. If you want flat rate, just forget to leave your own with God. They will come bring in 3 months of water bill, and you did not even receive one drop of water. And even when they say they bring in the meter, there's no water coming, but the meter just turning. The meter just turning. So criminal stuff going on in that country. Criminal stuff, and I thought to talk about it tonight. So we don't have good water system. So when you buy a fire truck, you need to buy water tankers that will accompany the fire truck. So the first load in the fire tanker itself, when you use that, you can use the backup water tanker to feed the fire truck with more water to be able to fight the fire. Because we don't have fire hydrant. We don't have that. Instead of the fire truck running to go look for a well or to go look for a creek or to go look for a stream or something to bring water, the people's house is gone. So we need that. We need to procure fire engines and water tankers and rescue equipment. Rescue equipment. I talked about just the guy who goes into the fire. It costs almost 20 grand to put everything on him. 20 grand before he can walk into that fire to ensure that he will come out safe. 20 grand. We need to recruit and train more firefighters. The comparison I made, I said Upper Darby has 58 career firefighters and 90 fire volunteers. People who maybe have been what we call what's the word, first responders, who have been first responder in different areas of discipline, and decided that they would take some time to help with the fire department because of manpower. These people get training to be able to do that. Improve emergency communication and dispatch systems. We need to have places where communities can run to instead of being on Facebook. Oh, my people, I want to burn you. Help me call fire service. Please help us to tell fire service. Hey, God, look at my house. Oh, God. Oh, my neighbor house. Oh, my neighbor house too. They come and get on fire. Then you find Zogo then all over the place trying to outlet to put you on fire, but it's there to steal. The person fight to save the one little freezer and bring it outside while they're down there yelling. Before they look, the freezer gone. The freezer gone. I mean, this is what's happening. So we need good communication system, dispatch system. Then we need to improve access to water, as I said. One of the biggest challenges fighting fire is the lack of reliable water sources during emergencies. The government could install fire hydrants in major urban centers, develop emergency water reservoirs, and community water points. Ensure that the urban planning includes adequate water infrastructure for firefighting. So we need to build reservoirs around the place, at least, and then we can bring waters there, and those water can be used in case of emergency. Water, water, water. What puts out the fire? Water. But you can't come to the fire and inadequate. So that's the problem we faced. Then enforce building and electrical standards. I talked about the substandard material the people bringing in the country, the Indians, the Lebanese. If you want the best thing, you go to Eagle or you go to what they call in City Builder. But anywhere around there, they're giving you AWG. They say that European wire. They're giving you Havel. They say that one from India. They're giving you this one. They're giving you receptacles. By the time you plug inside, the whole thing now pop, it burn. You got to carry that one back. You put a switch on, the switch don't want to put a light on, the switch gets stuck. The socket, you put it on here, by the time you screw the lever or the lever come with it. I mean, mess to give in to the people. So a significant number of residential fires are linked to faulty electrical wiring, overloaded circuit, and substandard construction materials. So the government should enforce building codes more rigorously, require inspections of electrical installations, penalize the sale and use of unsafe electrical products, and strengthen oversight of contractors and electricians. Look at electrician. The man barely graduated from MVTC, but he won contract. He want to take a contract to to electrify a whole three-story building, whereby his training never even brought him that far from MVTC. Some of them, they're just passing behind the boss man, just looking at the boss man, hand me the plier, hand me the screwdriver. Then from there, he in the neighborhood say he doing his own contract. That's the problem. Contractor take the job, and they put all kind of funny people because they want the money. They don't want to do the work for it, but they take the job because they got one electrical engineering degree from LU. So now they feed the big ball. They take the people job, they take all the contract money, then they put some babati man to go in there and do bad work. Then they pay the guy a small thing. Then you see that got big, then they passing around. When that person house get burned, no redress. That's what happening. The people that bring in all these substandard things, Madam Dagoza at the Ministry of Commerce, the Inspector General, everybody won't eat. So they're allowing these things on the market. Because you, Madam Dagoza, you and your people, y'all can go to Eagle. Y'all tell the people, say, y'all send it to me. Free. Send it from building, what do you call the place? City Builder. Send it to me. But you don't care about the masses. So many people in the diaspora now have to ship their stuff to Liberia. And when they ship their stuff to Liberia, they got to find the right people who will do the work. Because even if you ship the best of material, if you got a bad electrician who doesn't know what the heck he's doing, he's still going to create short circuit for you. He's still going to create electrical problems for you. Then we have to do expanding public education. Fire prevention begins at home. While the government may do these things, yet fire prevention begins at home. The government, in partnership with schools, community organizations, and the media, should conduct nationwide awareness campaigns on what? Safe electrical practices. If you're not home, turn your breaker off. If you're leaving your refrigerator on, it's understandable. Leave your breaker on, but turn all your other appliances off. Take the plugs out. Take the plugs out. I had a brand new microwave I bought. They left the plug in. The current came so high, bam, it blew out the microwave. Even though the microwave was not working, but it was plugged in. So that's a problem. So safe electrical practices need to be put into practice by the people in the community. Then part of that education is to properly use gas cylinders and generators. You can't just bring generator because you want current so desperately. Then you take one man to come say he's setting up your generator and he putting wire in. You don't want that. You want to find the very good experts. Reach out to people who can do the job for you. Fire hazard associated with charcoal and open flame cooking. You can't be cooking on charcoal and then you leave the food. You want to be within proximity. You want to sit down by a food. Even if you're using propane stove, you don't want to be far away from the kitchen. You don't want to put something on and you go to bed, or you go in a room and you're watching TV, you're watching Be Better Naja. Because when you're watching Be Better Naja, your mind gets carried away, that food start burning, that trouble. What would Be Better Naja do for you? You just become another statistic, so you want to pay attention. Then emergency evacuation procedures. People die in fire in Liberia. You know it. Just the other day in Shara community, the lady and her kids, right? Many a time we know that people die in fire. So people need to understand what emergency evacuation procedures look like. This is where the fire service come in. This is where the Red Cross and the Red Crescent societies can come in. This is where the media can come in. This is where government can come in to create these kinds of evacuation procedural awareness, train people to understand, develop these things in the community, provide calendars that people can put on their walls. These are part of the education. This is what I'm saying, that that's what government should be doing. Then develop community-based fire response. Fire stations are not everywhere. The same way we have volunteer firefighters here in America, we can replicate that in Liberia. We just need to build some water reservoir in areas where people can have access to the water. Many fires spread rapidly before professional fires arrive. Community fire brigades could provide an important first line of defense. Receiving basic firefighting training. As I said, get some volunteers, train them on how to address as first responders before fire service can come. Maintaining simple firefighting equipment. Give them some stuff that they can use. If it is used fire suit that somebody can wear, so long they're trained, they will still be able to maneuver the way, because they're not there now to put fire out. They're there now to save lives. Assisting with evacuation, as I said, and earlier response efforts before fire service can come. That's very important. We need to improve urban planning. This is a part of the Renaissance. Rapid urbanization and informal settlements have increased fire risks in Liberia. Government agencies should now begin to enforce zoning regulations. You can just build houses 1 feet next to the next, 1 feet next to the next, at least 10, 15, 20 feet apart. Enforce zoning regulations. Ensure access roads remain open for emergency vehicles. Access roads to communities must remain open. You can't build in the alley. You can't build market ground all in the roads. Come on now. And then when a functioning, real, serious government comes, then you got opposition seditions, you got opposition this, opposition that. They make noise about it. Oh, the government came to rescue, but the government, why are they rescuing? Why, when they're taking the people from the alley, when they're breaking the people, you're the same one sitting there, the people's houses burning every day, and the fire truck can't get to them. So how do you blame the government for not, or the fire department for not reaching those houses when there's no access to road? So government needs to ensure that emergency exits, roads, byways, alleyways must remain free of congestion. Reduce overcrowding in high-risk communities. Come on now. You go to private bar. We even know if private bar has what they call fire extinguishers around there. A place like private bar should be having fire extinguisher hanging all over the place. It should be a part of the modus operandi, part of the operation. The same way they can have security men there, when they know that they're overcrowding, they should have some first responders. They should pay first responders. I'm telling you something that is very important. This is not about politics. Tonight is about education. We have to do something to address these residential and commercial fire outbreaks around Monrovia. So all of these open nightclubs and bars, they must have some fire extinguishers around there, because people are smoking. People are drunk. The men drop the stuff down, and some people drink alcohol, right? And the alcohol are flammable. I'm talking about cold beer, but I'm talking about whiskey, the high power, the gold medal, the Long John or Long Jack, hmm? The Jing Jong. Y'all know what I'm talking about. All these things are flammable. So when you go into these public spaces, they're high risk entertainment. All these places just stack up with human beings. You're putting yourself at risk. At risk. We need to incorporate fire safety considerations in housing policies. You can just build and not build planning things in mind. Then we need to strengthen fire investigations. The government should establish a robust system for investigating fires and collecting data. Understanding the leading causes of residential fires will help policymakers design more effective prevention measures and allocate resources where they are most needed. That is, if that legislature would do that. Can you imagine to burn their own Capitol building? Don't you think that the Capitol building, the executive mansion, most of the ministerial complex that has so many ministries, do they have a fire or truck sitting on site? They should have a fire truck sitting on site. Not even one. That whole Peace Island community, Congo Town, all those places, they should have a fire station there. Now that you're building an overhead bridge, it means that you're creating accessibility so more people will move in those areas. Why do we just not do the right thing? What's wrong with us? What's wrong with us? Then national priority as I close. National priorities. Government, residential fires destroys home, and we know that, right? Livelihoods and sometimes entire communities. Somebody struggled to build a house and is caught by fire in a twinkle of an eye. No redress. National Disaster Agency does nothing because it doesn't have it. Nothing in the budget, it's just salaries. There isn't any goodwill. Organizations in the country, the NGOs have pulled out. Not many of them dare to give a helping hand. So when a person loses their home or families lose their home, they're left to nothing. They're left to nothing. And this can cause trauma. It's a setback. And it's serious, serious, serious. So while emergency response is critical, prevention is more important. By investing in fire service, President Boyka, I know you brought 285 yellow machines. The other day we talked about it, Alfonso and I, on the issues room, or in the issues room. And we said, did you even think that it would be necessary to bring one or two fire trucks within that batch of earth moving equipment because those things are combustible? They use fuel, they use gasoline, whatever. But I know you can address everything, but shift a little bit and let's put some money in the budget for fire service. It is important. Communities are bleeding. Families are bleeding. Family lives are set back, thrown years back. You know how hard it is to build a house. They already say poor men can build a house. Then the man take his last to build a house and he suffers it. So you need to put money in the budget for fire service, enforce safety standards across the country, improve infrastructure, and do education, public education. The Liberian government can significantly reduce the frequency and impact of residential fire and better protect citizens across the country if you do these things. They're doable. You just increase the budget to nearly $1.3 billion. And I'm sure by next year it's going to go up. But please put more money in the budget. $4.17 million. It's nothing. It's nothing, Mr. President. It's nothing. That's just the cost of 2 fire trucks. Not even outfitted. Needless to say, if you needed 25 to 30 fire trucks to be across the country, you have not even ventured to build the infrastructure or revamp and renovate the infrastructure. I just talked about the cost to dress one firefighter to go into a burning building. It cost nearly 20 grand. So we're playing. We're playing. I made a comparison to a small city in Pennsylvania, Upper Darby. 16 point something million dollars in the budget for fire service. 5 fire stations. Yet today we don't even have one because the one we have on Gurley Street are the only one we know. And it's not even quite a fire station. It's not built looking like a fire station. The fire station there, I know that I have fire stations all over. You have been fooling us for more than 55, maybe 75 years. They've been fooling us. There's a fire station down there. So we need to do something. We need to change things. We can do it. We just need to revisit this compensation for certain people in government. Government is not a place to get rich. We have agreed on that. So how are we still paying people hefty salaries? If we agree that government is not a place to get rich, why then legislators are making so much money? Senators are making so much money. People in the judiciary, ministers, some directors. I'm sure LPRC and Water and Sewer and National Port Authority. Why do you think people say chopping there? Telecommunications. A board member wants to make $10,000. Are you kidding me? Isn't that why they create all this high increase in data usage and telecommunications in the country? Because they got to continue to oil and grease their pockets? We have a long way to go. So you citizens who want to come back 2029, are you ready to take on this task? To build the fire stations? Are you ready? Are you going to be building one more park across the place and say you've done development? MPC, you ready? CMC, Ability, you ready? Because everywhere in our country is struggling. Everywhere. Healthcare, education, this one, that one, everywhere. And yet a lot of you sit there and give our resources to these foreigners that come in and they just pillage the place and give you chicken change because you took brown envelopes and you were getting compensated under the table at the detriment of the masses. Now, one thing I want to say before I leave. How can government force people to pay tax on their homes when the government is not providing the amenities to protect those properties? How can government ask people to pay taxes when their home is in stress? The fire department cannot even get to them. When taxes are paid to government by citizens, it means that government is under obligation. Obligation, you know what the word obligation means? You're forced, it's compulsory to provide the services for the taxpayers. When people pay taxes, the tax should work for them, not to go in the pockets of people at the hierarchy or the higher echelon of society. It should be for the people. So double jala, don't be pushing people to pay taxes when you're not putting money in the budget for fire service. Fire service should be strengthened. Because fire is not for one man. I who's sitting down here, I'm vulnerable. And because I see the vulnerability, not just for the people who's suffering it, But for myself, and even for Joe Barker, you think fire no president house and vice president house? Fire window side Joseph, what it did to him? Fire window, what a man, uh, Fonati Kofa. Did fire care? So when fire come, it's for everybody. So I just want to say this to you. LRA, you collecting property taxes. You should be advocating for fire stations across the country. The place is vulnerable. Commerce Ministry, you should be checking to see whatever electrical materials are coming in the country. You should make sure that these things are not substandard so that when people put them in their homes, they can go to bed at night and feel safe. That's what I wanted to talk about here today. Why we have all this fire and what government should be doing. I hope many of you listened and that this campaign can continue. We can continue to talk about it and we can continue to make this a conversation. I want to thank all of you. I'm again sorry for the false start. Meaning, I started the podcast with good attendance. I saw folks, and then all of a sudden they said they couldn't hear sound. Um, they were not hearing anything. I don't know what happened. But unfortunately, I had to come back 3 times. This is the third one, just to make sure I brought this topic. I'll be here next Thursday by the grace of God with another presentation on something else. But again, I just want to thank you for being there with me tonight. My name is Volcano Shelton, and you've just heard the Volcano Shelton show. Again, as I said, we're here on every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Please help to share this page. Love us, like us, and follow us. We'll be back here next week. Until then, have a great rest of your day and let's be safe. Let's make sure if we're not home, turn off your breaker. If you don't have a refrigerator on, turn on your breaker, turn off your breaker, turn off your breaker. If you're going to bed, places where you don't need the lights on, turn it off. Take appliances, plug out of the receptacles, and make sure that you're safe. Pay attention to those things and try to buy better electrical stuff instead of those substandard things. Don't buy from those useless things they're selling on the sidewalk. Those extension cords, those things are mess. They can't do you any good. Okay? Thank you.